they are amazing. Oh, it's such a big. It smells also a bit peppermint. Oh, really? It's such a big. Ah! Oh, this is good. This is what I smell. Oh, it smells really, really good. With some mint and other things. I will keep it in my yarn. Oh. It's a 5. I don't know what to say. Hello, my name is Sarah. Welcome to the It's a Sarah podcast. Today it is Friday, April 14, 2023, and this is episode 69. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. Actually, making this podcast is kind of taking English lessons, I guess. So that's a very nice practice, a very creative way of practice your English, and I really I am enjoying it right now. So thank you for helping me with that. I make podcast episodes every Monday and Friday, twice a week, in which I share my crafty adventures, and in Dutch I say handwerkperikelen. I think that's a more cozy word than crafty adventures, but it are my crafty adventures. I make my episodes both in English and Dutch, so be sure you pick the right one. My Dutch ones I call filmpje, and my English ones are called episodes. So I think you can recognize the right one if you are looking for it. I live in a small town. Is it a small town? A medium town, I guess, in the south of the Netherlands. And that sounds quite funny because the Netherlands, we have quite a small country, but we have south. I live there together with my husband and our 3 children, 3 teenagers, 1 boy, 2 girls. The crafting is my main goal in life. No, that's that sounds terrible to my husband and children. I spend most time knitting and crochet. Let's say that, and walking with my dog. Last Monday I didn't make an episode because it was Easter. In the Netherlands we call it second Easter day. I think in other countries it's called bank holiday. I saw in the UK. I don't know how it's called in the USA. But it was a day off for everybody in our family. So we had a family day on the first day of Easter, and the second day of Easter was on a Monday. And normally I film my episode, but now we were home together, and I'm always motivated to make episodes because I really love to talk and I really love doing this. Otherwise I wouldn't do it, not as much as I do it right now. But I really enjoy talking to you, not really with you. It feels like I'm talking with you, but you're quite silent on the other. There are quite often people commenting that they are talking with me while they are watching the podcast. So I really love that idea. Only I can't hear you. Maybe I can imagine what you are saying to me. I just filmed my Dutch episode and it was almost 90 minutes long. Yeah, I can't stop talking. I'm sorry. But let's start. I have a new thing. I have a new notebook. My daughter brought it to me for me last week. It is a lovely flower paper notebook, not a hard cover, but a soft cover. We call it a schriftje. You use it also for your school things to make notes, and a schrift. I don't know. There must be an English word, but it's she bought it at Sustrene Grene, a little store, I think a Danish store, but we also have it in the Netherlands, and they have all those nice stuff you don't actually need in your life, but when you see it, you want it in your life. And it was my plan to not buy anything new this year in 2023. I didn't make it. It's only April, but I'm quite conscious about what I'm buying. But this thing I needed in my life because I want to have a notebook to take podcast notes, because every week I hear all the people downstairs. It's always a bit awkward when you are filming, especially in English. My family used to laugh at me when I was talking English, but my English is improved right now, but they don't know. Because I still feel a bit insecure talking English while my kids are at home. Maybe I just need to conversate in English with them. They would be impressed. Yeah. But every time when I upload a podcast, an episode on YouTube, I think, oh, I forgot to tell this, and oh, I didn't share that. And I think it's quite, for me, the crafty adventures are the most interesting part of knitting podcasts. Because it's always nice to see finished objects, and it's always nice to see which pattern people used and which yarn, and how beautiful things can become when they are knitted. But the struggles on the go, these are most interesting to me, because they are, how do you say it? In Dutch we say geruststellen. They are calming me. Now, that sounds quite dramatic. That's not the word I was looking for, but maybe you know which word I mean right now. It's always nice to see that other people have knitting and crochet struggles too every now and then, because sometimes you think, oh, am I the only one doing this wrong every time? And when I see somebody talking in a podcast, I think, oh, relieved? Are you relieved then? I think relieved that you are not the only one. So I written down all my crafty adventures from last week, and I hope I won't forget anything today. But let's start on Friday, last Friday, April 7, because that was a good day. I filmed my previous episode, and when I was editing and uploading, my husband called and he said, there's post from the USA for you. And I thought I was expecting a package from the USA, and I was so excited. It's such a nice and lovely story. I received a package from the USA from Jonna. Jonna is the one of the ladies from the Knit Together with Kim and Jonna podcast, and she's also they make a podcast on YouTube, and she's also active on Instagram as Knitmatician because of her matician, how do you say it in English? Matician background. She loves mats. I don't. I always tell myself I'm not good at it. Maybe I'm a genius, a hidden genius. I don't think so, but she is. She discovered my podcast on YouTube, I guess in February, when I was making daily episodes all month long, and she was very enthusiastic about me, and it was so it was quite a surprise. She sent me a message when she mentioned me in their podcast, and I watched their podcast. I did watch it already. I knew them already, and it was so it was quite weird. I really, are they talking about me? Is he talking about me? It was quite flattering. I was really happy to hear it. And we sent each other messages and voice messages, and it was quite interesting. It was a good practice for me to speak in English in a voice message. Also English lesson, part of the English lesson. And Jonna is such a generous, lovely lady. And yeah, it was so much fun chatting with her. And she asked me if she could send me some yarn. And I was, whoa, send me some yarn. But all from the USA, it's quite expensive to send a package overseas, I guess. But she said, no, I really want to. And I will make a package for you filled with yarn and some goodies, and I will send it to you. So I was really, I don't know why I deserve so much abundance, I guess. But she messaged me that it was on its way, and last Friday it arrived at our home. So my husband calls, and I really ran down and opened the package. I filmed it for Jonna. She warned me. She said, I put it in a dog food box. Don't pay attention at the dog food box. But it was a steady box. When you send something overseas, you want to protect it, and dog food box do. I really love to have an American dog food box. Sundays for dogs. Oh, this is, maybe I'm now this is advertisement. I don't know the brand. But I love the American box. But I don't keep it. I will reuse it. But it's nice that there is an American box in my Dutch home. I never received post from the USA, I guess. There must be things in our house that are originally from the USA, but I don't know anybody in the USA, and I don't. Yeah, it felt really special, and it only became more special when I opened the box, because it's so lovely. Jonna is such a lovely lady. I already thought that before I received this, but now I really do. She sent me a card. And she told, I'm so excited to be able to send this yarn to you. Jonna, I'm the one who's excited. I bought it at our farmer's market from the sheep farmer. And their website is, do you say W? In Dutch we say way. willhighfarm.com. I will link it all below. Their sheep are raised in Tivoli, New York. And the wool is spun in Harmony, Maine at Bartlett Yarn's woolen mill. It is spun as one would do at home. I'm not a spinner. It's not. I still don't have the feeling that I want to learn that. I see quite some people which do have that feeling and are creating beautiful yarns, but I don't have it. But I really like the idea that I have it now here. It is the oldest mill in America, I believe. I hope you love it. I think it's perfect for you. Yeah, I think it too, because it's such a lovely color. And when she asked me if she could send me some yarn, I thought about one skein. I think that was way too generous at all. One skein was already so generous. I guess I have to say it like that. But this is not the only skein she sent me. It is a beautiful brown colorway, and it's heathered with all the colorful speckles, blue and red and browns, and it gives the color so much depth, I guess, and it's so beautiful. And she sent me 5 of these. I'm really, oh, be careful. Look at this yarn. It's amazing. It smells really good, and that's also because she has hidden a lovely do you call it patchouli? I don't know. It are dried herbs, flowers. I think I smell some peppermint. It smells delicious, and I really will keep this with the yarn because the smell is perfect. But I opened the box and I smelled it, and I'm really sensitive for good smells, so that was a nice unexpected surprise. But this yarn, look at these. They are so amazing. I think it's a worsted weight, and I'm really flabbergasted. This is way too much. It is so, I feel so overwhelmed in a positive way, dear Jonna, in a positive way. It's so, I don't know why I deserved this, but it's really lovely. It's such a beautiful yarn, and it was quite funny because I showed it to my husband, and he said to me, "I have the feeling that this yarn must be a cardigan." And I laughed quite hard because I didn't realize that my husband had knitting feelings at all. But I did understand what he meant. Yeah, I have no idea. I wear my Felix cardigan with a lot of pleasure, with a lot of love, and I thought, should it be a Felix cardigan? I don't know. If you have any recommendations for a nice cardigan in this yarn in one color, let me know. I really love it. It's so beautiful, and yeah, I don't think it needs a busy pattern because the color is the eye catcher, I guess. When the sun is shining on it, it's such interesting. Yeah, I really love it. So, oh, my heart jumped very high, very hard, and very quick, and very often. It was so nice. And it wasn't only this, it was also, well, they are escaping. There was more. She also visited the Hickory's farm in Connecticut, and she bought these beautiful handmade beeswax candles. I really love beeswax candles. I love the smell of it, and I don't use them often because they are quite expensive in the Netherlands, and I'm very happy that I have two now, and I will be very careful with them. I will light them on special moments. Yeah, really a moment for myself, sitting with a candle. It's not really candle time right now, so I think I will keep them for the darker time at the end of the year, and then I won't burn them as I burn my daily candles, but just in a special moment, thinking of Jonna and all the love she sent me. It was quite expensive to send something from the United States to the Netherlands, and Jonna was a bit worried that I have to pay duty, but I didn't, I guess. No one asked me for it, so I think it's okay. But she bought this at the Hickory farm, and the same family has been farming there for 250 years. I love that idea. It's a lovely place, and you pay using the honor system. I had to Google it, what the honor system was, but I think it's I write it down. It's you pay what you can afford, and I love that idea. I don't think we have it in the Netherlands. We probably have it, but I don't know it. Not in my neighbor, but I really love that idea. And I'm very glad that I finally can show it to you because I really want to use it. I need it for my hands, but first I want to show it in the podcast. This is hand salve, and it's also based on beeswax, and beeswax. I think I say it on a silly way. Beeswax. I think I have to say beeswax. In Dutch we say wax. Olive oil, beeswax, lanolin, and lavender essential oil, and it smells amazing. And my hands are quite dry, and I really need this. So when I am ready filming, I will put it on my hands, and I will be a happy lady. I already am a happy lady because it's so nice, and it's so nice. She also wanted to send me some seeds. But Google said, don't do that. Don't send seeds to the Netherlands. They have enough by themselves. It would be quite special to have an American flower in my garden. But I understand it wasn't a good idea, and she will plant it in her own garden. So it's a really amazing treat and really lovely and wonderful from dear Jonna. She made a podcast episode last week, 2 weeks ago, I guess. 2 weeks ago, in which she is telling her stories about all the goodies, and she also filmed her visit to the Hickories farm, so you can see how it looks there, and yeah, it's really amazing. Yeah, I feel so spoiled, and I will absolutely cast on a special knit, and I like it when there are memories connected to your knits and to your yarn, and this memory in this yarn is of course the memory of Jonna, of such her warmth and her I don't know the right word, but her generosity, I guess, and but yeah, so love and warmth is really connected in my new garment, and I really love that idea, because there are some days you can use a special layer of warmth, and I have a knitting friend, and she calls it when we were talking about another knitted garment, she said it's a heart warmer, and I think I mentioned it last week, a heart warmer. I really love that idea. That your knits are always heart warmers, but some are more special than other ones, and this will be a special one. So thank you, dear Jonna. You really touched my heart. Yeah. Okay, so that was on Friday. Let me see in my notes what other crafty adventures I experienced on Friday. Oh yeah. I casted on my second version of the Corran cardigan. I showed you last week it was Corran cardigan day. The Corran cardigan is a new pattern from Clow from the Crea Bea podcast. And she released it last Friday, and I was a test knitter, so I showed you again my version of the Corran cardigan, and I really wanted to cast on a second version because I knit it in quite a woolly yarn, and it's really a summer garment, but this was not a summer yarn, but it seemed the best yarn in my stash for it at that moment. But a few weeks ago I bought a second-handed cone Holst Coast in the color warm brown, and I really want a Corran cardigan in this yarn in my life, and I'm a bit tangled now. Let me show it to you. So I cast it on Friday night, my second version, and this weekend I knitted quite a lot on this cardigan, but now it's resting for a few days. But it feels so nice and soft in. Do you hear that ambulance? No, it was another word in English. I don't like hearing them. I'm glad we have them, but I don't like hearing them because someone is in need, and that's not nice. It always feels a bit that I'm chatting about knitting and someone's in need here in not far away from here, and that feels a bit confusing, I guess. But it feels very nice and light and airy and springy, and I think this is really a summer garment I need in my wardrobe, even more than that one, because the yarn is a better choice. I knit with the Holst Coast held double, and I struggled a bit in the beginning with the yarn tangling in a annoying way, but then I realized when I put the cone on one side of my basket holder and the yarn cake at the other side, it's always it works out pretty good, because it's always splits right here on a natural way, and it isn't tangling as much as when they were both laying next to me at the ground or on the couch, and this works pretty good. So I'm quite sure I will knit the V-shaped neckline again, because I really love the V-shaped neckline. I don't have to decide right now. I have to add a few centimeters before I split for the armholes, and then I have to decide. but I'm quite sure this will be a V-shaped neckline with short sleeves, because I think this is really a nice throw over in summer. I like to wear black tank tops, and at the moment I also have a few knitted tank tops, but they can be, I've searched for quite a few words, but I forgot to check this. I feel quite revealed, but maybe I am saying it wrong again. But with only a tank top, there are some situations when I need more clothes. And also because it's just too cold in the morning and in the evening. And this seems to be a perfect layer because it's not too warm, it's still airy and summery, but it's also with short sleeves, so my shoulders are covered. I guess I think I feel better in some situations with covered shoulders. You know what I mean. I'm 41 years old, the time when I was all that's gone. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh yeah, this was also interesting. We are still on Friday with my crafty adventures. Friday night. And I mean not the evening, but the night. I was in bed already sleeping. And I never take my phone to our bedroom when we go to bed. I don't want it next to my head. It's such an addictive thing. I don't think it will influence my sleep in a good way. So I always keep my phone downstairs. But my two eldest children are 16 and 18 years old, and they have midnight activities, especially in the weekends. And when they are not at home, I want that they can reach me when they need. They never need, but I want to be there when they need me. So I used to put my phone next to me when they were not at home, but I didn't sleep well then. It was I couldn't put my phone on the flight stand. Do you call it flight stand, where you can put out all your Wi-Fi and other stuff? But then they couldn't reach me, so that didn't work. But now I thought, let me take. I keep my phone in the hallway downstairs. We sleep with our bedroom door open, and when I put the volume of my phone on the loudest, I can hear it when they call me. So long story. So I was sleeping Friday night. My husband and me, we were both sleeping. He didn't wake. He never wakes. But my phone was ringing, and it was 1:30 a.m. at morning. You say it like that? In the middle of the night, 1:30. And my phone was ringing, and I was... and I ran down the 2 stairs down, and then luckily I saw my daughter peeping her nose between the front door. We have a little lock on the front door, an inside lock. You put when it's locked, you can't go in from the outside. It's a night lock, a kind of night lock. And my son, he came home just before her and her boyfriend, and he didn't realize they weren't home yet, so he put on the night lock, but they couldn't enter through the front door. And at the back door, we also have such a thing. It was also locked. They weren't welcome anymore. So she called me, and I ran down, and she said, "Oh, can we come in?" So I opened the door, and it was all fine and well. They were all alive. They were all at home. But my adrenaline was sky high because, I was sleeping, and I thought there was an emergency. So I was so awake and so sharp. I mean, I think I could have knitted a sweater in an hour because so much energy was in me. So I was laying in bed and watching, and no way I was going to sleep because of the amount of adrenaline in my blood. So I chose the wrong thing, I guess. I picked my phone from downstairs and went back to bed and was just scrolling. It's not good for your sleepiness as well, but I wanted to. I maybe it was better when I picked my book or something, or just make a cup of tea and did some knitting downstairs, but it was cold. And so I was scrolling, and this is a very long way to tell you that I received a message on Instagram. Last Friday it was Corran Cardigan Day, so I shared all my pictures in my episode and also on my Instagram from me in the Corran cardigan. And I received a message from Renee, a Dutch knitter, and she said, Sarah, I don't want to bother you, but I see something at your back and it could be a dropped stitch, and I want to warn you because if you aren't aware of it, it may fall down further. And I thought, I was laying in my bed in the middle of the night, Friday night, and I thought, how on earth can you see something? So I went to my pictures and my videos on Instagram, and I was looking and I was zooming, and there was a little tiny spot on my back which could be the thing she mentioned, but I thought it was so unclear, and yeah, I was a bit amazed, but I was also curious. So I was laying in bed and I thought I will check this tomorrow, and I thought no, I will check this now. So in the middle of the night I went to my woolly closet and I picked up the Corran cardigan, and Renee, she was right. I had a dropped stitch on my back. I still have. I was so happy she sent me a message because I didn't notice. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe when I hold it so. Here is the little one trying to escape. You didn't make it. And I think I just put my needle. This yarn is a cotton thread with wool around it, and I think I just put my needle in the wool and not in the cotton thread, and the cotton is the base of the yarn. So you can see here I did knit it, but just in the wool, and yeah, it's a very narrow knit stitch. Yeah, it is quite a rusty yarn, so it's sticky, so the stitch didn't drop when I was wearing it last week. And I pulled it out. It wasn't so far out, so it's really amazing she saw it, and I'm so thankful she messaged me, because on your back, yeah, maybe when there was a big hole someone would have said, oh, don't you have a problem at your back, Sarah? But now it was my plan to fix it and to film it and to put it in the podcast, but it didn't happen. But it was also still quite cold last week, but next week the weather forecast is yeah, I have the feeling I say it every week, but the weather will be better. And I have an occasion coming Wednesday, at which I think I could wear this it will be very proper to wear with my black dress, and I have to fix it for then, by then. So I have a deadline. That always works pretty good. So yeah, that was a crafty adventure in the middle of the night. Then I couldn't sleep. I didn't feel the need to fix it immediately. I did fall asleep after an hour or something when my adrenaline levels were lower, and it was all okay. Yeah. So let's go to Saturday. Oh yeah, I casted on quite some new things last weekend. It was the Saturday before Easter, and on the first Easter day we had quite some family visits with quite some travel time, and I didn't have an on-the-go work. Normally socks are my on-the-go works, and I really want to use all the time traveling but also chatting with family to work on something I need. I don't need anything, but I want to have in my wardrobe, but I have so many socks already, and then I realized I want to knit a summer top. I'm sorry. Easy, Sarah, easy, not too fast. A Dutch knitter made the summer secret top from Jessie May. Jessie May Designs, a free pattern on Ravelry, and she was quite amazed by the amount of yarn she needs for it. It was only 68 grams, I guess. I don't know which size she has made, but a bigger size than I need. And it was on quite a loose gauge, and you can make a summer top with 1 skein of yarn, fingering weight yarn, and she was very pleased by it, and it also inspired me. I have several fingering weight skeins in my stash, and I thought, oh, that's nice, I can use it for them. But and I already have some. The other pattern, you have to be patient. This is my Thursday crafty adventure, so you have to wait. You have another pattern from Jessie May, and that's the secret summer top. No, summer secret crop is the other secret summer crop. I don't know. The names are very much like each other, but the other one is ribbed. And also a crop top and ribbed, and I really love that pattern. I made 3 versions, and I like to wear them a lot. And I never made this one because I don't really was enthusiastic about the open fabric, the airy fabric, because it's knitted on a very loose gauge. I'm a loose knitter. I always struggling with my loose gauge, so I didn't felt attracted to the loose gauge, and also I don't really need a see-through summer crop top in my life, because again, I'm 41 years old, and there's nothing when you are 41 years old and you love summer crop tops, see-through crop tops. It's absolutely fine to me, but I'm not such a person, and I think I never was. Also not when I was 18 years old. But it's a very lovely pattern, and she says she gives quite some suggestions for different yarns. You can knit it with fingering yarn and with DK weight yarn. She motivates you to use scraps. You can use fingering held double, and I didn't do all of that. I chose the sport weight yarn. But I had it in my stash for quite a while. These lovely, it reminds me of a sorbet, of an ice cream. The colors, a little bit of pistache in the middle, chocolate, and a little bit of, what is it, caramel? Or maybe caramel with a little bit of, no, not, how do you call it, lemon, I guess, and a little bit of strawberry around. This is Lang Yarns Quattro Dégradé, and it was gifted to me from Lang Yarns when I worked for them. I quitted that job last year in June, but I have quite some Lang Yarns. Lang Yarns is the English way. I always say Lang Yarns. I have quite some Lang Yarns in my stash, and this is 100% cotton yarn. It is how do you say it? Mercurized, with a little shiny layer around it, and I wanted to use that, so I did cast on a summer secret summer crop, and I really like it. I was a bit worried about the yellow at the bottom. I'm not a very yellow person, but we are coming to my comfort zone right now with the browns. I'm really a brown lover, and it's really, we are now going to the pistache green, the mint green, and the pink, so it's quite exciting. Oh, we will end with yellow, I see. So it was really straight in the round. You can add some increases. You can add some increases and decreases for shaping, but I didn't do it. One of my family members said, "Oh, you are knitting for your little niece." And I said, "No, it's for me." Do you fit in it? I guess. I think. It's quite some negative ease, and I'm knitting size small on the smaller needles, 3.75, because I want to have the fabric a bit denser, and also my 4mm wooden needles were already busy making the Corran cardigan, and I really want to knit it on wooden needles. I must say I love my stitch definition on the wooden needles. I really think it's better than with metal needles, especially with the soft cotton. It's not a sticky yarn, so I think it works out pretty good. But now I don't know if I am already there. I didn't measure, but then I was thinking, you have to do some decreases and then a little ribbing here, and then you make some double knitted straps, and you attach them to the back side, but they are very narrow. And then I thought, maybe I want to, I prefer wider shoulder bands. And last summer I made the Remy camisole from Kadri, and it started right this. It was a rib top, and I also made the home camisole in stockinette, and it was also with the triangle shaped at the front and at the back, the V neckline. And it was a little bit more covered, and I really loved that. I really need it in my life, and I thought, can I make it with this one? So maybe I will play a bit, and I will combine a bit techniques and a bit pattern parts, and I think I will make a round low neckline with brighter and a high neck, and then I have a summer top that fits a bit more better in my taste on my linen skirts. I think it will be pretty perfect, and then I hope I will fit in it. I will add my cable so I can try it on before I do all the work. So it is not an on the go job anymore, because now I have to do some thinking, and I didn't make time for that, but I will do. So it was quite a quick knit. I really love it. So I will absolutely recommend the pattern, because I think the patterns, Jessie made patterns, are quite clear, and when you are looking for a quite clear, easy, quick summer top, you can try it for free. That's also nice, I guess. So let me see. Oh yeah. Also on Saturday, I frogged my striat cardigan, and it was quite hard and painful, because I put so much effort in my striat cardigan, and I really love to knit it, and I really love how it became. I love the fit, I love the color of the yarn, but the yarn was a mix of wool and silk and rami, and the silk gives it a little layer of fuzziness I didn't like, a bit of shiny fuzziness, and it did remind me of acrylic, cheap acrylic, and it was absolutely not doing the yarn right, what it deserves, because it was such a beautiful yarn, and I really love the color, and it was just not matching with the pattern, and it was not the pattern was wrong, that was wrong. It was also not the yarn that was not wrong. It was the combination of the pattern and the yarn, and I think my way of knitting, it was a little bit too loose, that it just didn't work out, and it was absolutely okay for me to stop knitting on it, but then frogging it, it's also and it took me so much time to frog it, because all the stitches, all the work. So I did it, and I immediately casted on a new knitting work with that yarn to heal my pain. And it is the Tolsta Tee. I worked on this quite a lot last week. It is also a test knit. It's a bit messy because I did a late night fit before I went to bed. No, never do that before you go to bed. It's not good. Because when it's perfect, you are so happy, you want to knit on, you want to knit further, and you don't want to go to bed. And when it's not perfect, you want to fix the problems, and you don't want to go to bed. So never try on your knits before you go to bed. I know that, but I still do every now and then. Okay, the Tolsta Tee is a new pattern from Rebecca from the Creabea podcast, and she made a raglan tee a few years ago, which she wears with very much pleasure every summer, and it's knitted on quite a loose gauge. It's a DK weight, knitted on 5mm needles, stockinette, the ribbing on 4, and it's a cropped top, and she invited the test knitters to add their own creativity to the pattern, because it's a basic pattern with a lot of opportunities, possibilities, to make it special. And I want to add some woolly tattoos to it. And there are so many options I also want, but less is more. So I didn't want it all in the same t-shirt. So I thought, let me knit the basic shirt at first, and then add some woolly tattoos, and then you can play with stitches or structures or eyelets or garter stitch rows, whatever. Stripes, I also saw a lot of stripes. I'm not a very striped person, but I do have some linen yarn, one skein linen yarn, so maybe I will play with stripes, I don't know. But I cast it on and I started with making the short rows. I made a mistake, so I had one stitch less than the pattern told me I need to have, and I couldn't find out if it was my fault or if it was a mistake in the pattern. And my first reaction was, whatever, one stitch, no one will see. And then I remembered, oh, but I'm a test knitter, so I have to check it. And I didn't make raglan patterns a lot, so I understand the construction because it's a very easy one, but making short rows in the raglan was quite, I didn't understand what I was doing. My brain is not working that way. My brain has to do something and understands afterwards what we were doing, and not before, and also not when I was doing it. I was also struggling again with the make one knitwise and the make one leftwise and purlwise, make one right, left, right. They are easy, I can do it, but I never remember which one is which. And now I write it down, and then it's good for my... When I went to school, I also did... This was my way of learning. I always made summarize, and then I didn't have to study a lot, because when I made the summary, it was in my head. So I hope these are in my head right now too. But I ripped it out and I re-knitted the short rows, and I made a mistake because the stitch count was perfectly right the second time. And I also made a little modification. I really love a lower neckline, so I replaced one of the normally the usual raglan rows. I replaced it for another short row, so it is a little bit lower, and I'm really pleased with the fit. It was really, really nice, and I only could do that modification because I made it twice, and my brain was understanding, oh, but this is what we are doing. Oh, maybe we can add an extra short row. So this is how I work. I really love the gauge. I really love the yarn. It was a bit that shiny layer which was bothering me in the Stria cardigan is a little bit around here, but at the stockinette it isn't annoying at all. It's the color is called Red Tiger Eye. It is yarn dyed by a Dutch dyer, Loveliest, Atelier Loveliest. It's called Lindewol, and it's absolutely amazing. I was knitting, and I was really... And then yesterday evening I thought, let's measure. And I was surprised that I was already at the point that I could start the ribbing for the hem. I did decrease a few stitches because my ribbing, sometimes it's a bit flary, and I prefer it a bit going inside than outside. So I decreased a few stitches, and I just did knit together every 15 stitch. I thought 10 is my favorite number, but every 10 stitch felt a bit too much. I didn't do any maths, I just did it by feeling. So every 10 felt a bit too much, so I did every 15th, and I didn't, there are not enough stitches left to do a good amount of decreases, but it's absolutely okay. And I also made a mistake in the ribbing, so I decreased again in the ribbing to fix that. But I bound off some earlier than the pattern said. I'm showing you the wrong side, I guess. I'm holding it. This is the front. So I did the same amount of ribbing rows as in the neckband, 5 rows, but and I bound off with a 6.5mm needle, a regular bind off, but it's too tight and the ribbing is too short. So I will unravel the ribbing, unravel the bind off, and add another 5 rows of ribbing. I think that will look better, and I think the pattern tells you to use an Italian bind off, but I don't love it. I don't know why. I love doing it. It's very relaxing and but I don't really love the look of it. And normally I prefer 2x2 rib, and I don't know what it is, but maybe I just have to do it. I don't know, because a stretchy bind off on a sweater is also not my favorite thing. I'm always struggling with a good bind off. I did a regular bind off at this one, and this is perfect. But I think this is a bit too tight. I don't know. Maybe it's also okay. But we will start with adding 5 rows of ribbing. But I'm now knitting the sleeve. I'm a bit struggling with these cables. I really love my wooden Chaogu needles. They're really, I really think they are improving my stitch definition. But these, are they spin cables? The spinning cables, the yarn is a bit, it's not going well over the connection between the yarn and the needle and the cable, but I only knitted 2 rows, so I was a bit, maybe the red cables, maybe I prefer them. And I also have my shorties, but I only have to knit 2 centimeters of needle of a little bit. It's a short sleeved t-shirt and a raglan, so we are almost there. It is my plan to add some embroidery, a woolly tattoo, and I will make a drawing, and I'm not quite sure where or how. I'm thinking of here. I'm thinking of doing it at one place, maybe over the arm, over the shoulder. I don't think I want it on 2 places. I don't know. I will see. You will see it when it's ready. But I really love the fit. And I really feel motivated to knit another one in Holst Coast, and maybe with eyelets or ribbing. I don't know. There are so many possibilities. I have a very good idea for something, but I don't know if that will work out. But yeah, I think this pattern will come out half May. But it's really an easy and quick knit. When you pay attention to it, all your knitting time, you can knit it in a few days, I guess, when you are a quick knitter. I'm not a quick knitter. I'm also not a slow knitter. I just spend a lot of time on my knitting. So that sometimes people think I'm a quick knitter, but I just, knitting is my first priority in life. Now my children are, of course, but they are to school, on school all day. So then I knit. Okay, let's check my notes. Oh yeah. I showed you a few episodes ago a little piece of amber, and I couldn't find an English word for it, so I think you call it amber. And it's a bit of a soapy structure, and it is from Morocco originally, and it's a piece of something with a very strong and good smell. And I have mutts in my house, and I don't want them to enjoy my yarn. I don't want to share my yarn with my mutts. So somebody suggested me you could put a little piece of amber between your yarns, and the mutts won't come there because they don't like the smell. So my daughter bought me a little piece when she was in town at a shop, and it was smelling very strong, and I love the smell. I'm quite sensitive for smell. The stuff you use to do your laundry, washing, wasmiddel we call it in Dutch. Your laundry soap. I make it my own. Especially because I don't love the synthetic smell. I don't know, my nose can't stand it. I don't know. Sometimes my son is a rugbyer, and sometimes the t-shirts they used in the game, every now and then they come home with him to wash, and they are full of those washing laundry smell, and I can't sleep when our washing line is next to our bedroom, and when they are drying, the smell is so strong. Oh, I don't like it. So I was happy with my little piece of amber, and I put it into my woolly closet with all my knitted garments, and they were smelling quite strong, and I liked it. But after a few days, it was too much, and I put it in my other closet with a door, but I still could smell it. And last Saturday I was laying in bed, and the smell was so strong I couldn't sleep of it, and it was very annoying. So I put it in a basket with some wool I use when I have to fill stuff, and I put it's a closed box, and now it's okay. But then I did a quick search on internet, and those amber pieces are made with natural essential oils, and I can handle them because I have all those diffusers in our home, and I really love essential oils. I don't use parfum, but I do use essential oils, and I really love it. But then I read that there were also amber pieces made with synthetic perfume, because the smell stands longer, it is cheaper to make, and blah blah blah, all the fake stuff we have in our lives, the quick stuff. And I was really disappointed because I realized, I didn't check at the store, I bought it, but I realized this must be a synthetical amber piece, and now I have to look for a natural one. I think my daughter has a natural one, because that smell is much better and not so hard, not so strong, more in a natural way. So I did recommend it in my podcast, but I'm not so enthusiastic anymore right now, but just because of the difference between natural and synthetic smell. That you know. Okay, with Easter we had a family day. We visited both our families, and it was nice weather, and we had a lot of fun and a lot of knitting on the go. And last Monday it was, I started the podcast with telling that kind of a bank holiday, I guess. Let me share, where did I go? Oh yeah, we started, we live in our house for 19 years now, and we painted the most things when we bought the house, and every now and then we repainted the wall or something else. But now we really, I looked for it at Google Translate. Our windowsill and the frame of the window, I don't know the word windowsill, so I'm not quite sure if it's the right one. I never heard of it. But it really, a few years ago we did use the wrong paint, so it was way too structured on the windowsill. When I was weeping the dust, it was not, it has to be nice, and it was a bit rough, and that was not how we wanted to be. So we had to I had all my sansevierias in front of the window, but it was all messy and dusty, and I didn't like it. So we had to put some time and effort in it. So we were sanding the windowsill, and we have to scratch all the paint of it. It was very rough and hard work. So this Monday I started with doing it, and I alternated it with 15 minutes sanding and scratching and working, and then knitting 2 rows on my Corran cardigan, so my hands could rest. And it was such hard hand work that my hands were hurting, and knitting felt a bit uncomfortable because I had so much power and doing stuff, and then knitting was a bit weird. But it was really nice to give myself some rest after working hard every 15 minutes. And then it's really better for me to do the knitting in between than only working hard and then knitting all the time. But just alternating works pretty good for me. And I painted it yesterday, and my husband did it this morning, and we bought blinds, things you can put, not curtains, but blinds you could put for the window, brown ones. I am really curious. I think my husband has hung them right now. So when I'm ready talking to you, I will check. And I'm really curious how it looks. I don't know if I like it, but so I'm a bit excited. But I worked on that last Monday pretty hard. And then in the evening, I was working on my granny square blanket. This is a crochet granny square blanket. It is for my parents-in-law, for my in-laws. They want a bed sheet, but not only a little part to cover the end of their bed, just for fun, just for the look, not as a blanket, but just for a nice look. So I was adding the third row, and let me see, I have a little stitch marker. This one needs to be there, I guess. Yeah. And I do a bit of color planning. Not too much, but a little bit. So before I attached this row, these squares, I planned them and I checked if they were not connecting with the same color. But I made a mistake, and when I was at this point, these two were above each other, and they have both the same basic color in the inside of the square. And when I discovered it, I couldn't ignore it anymore. It was way too visible, and it was really annoying me. And I'm quite sure my in-laws wouldn't see it, and when they do, they wouldn't mind. But the perfectionist in me, she was going crazy. No, we are not gonna do that this way. Rip it out and do it again. Okay, so I did rip it out and crochet it again. I did some changes, and now it's okay. So I weave in all the threads, all the yarn ends, so it's pretty good. And I'm now busy with the fourth row, and that will be the last row. And then I will add a nice simple border, and then it's ready. And I told you last week that with this blanket I was on climbing on the hill, and last week I was at the last path before the top of the hill, and it's very hard, and the motivation is almost gone. But this weekend of the last few days, I reached the top, and I could see, only one row to go, and then it's ready. And now I am going from the top downhill, so it will go very fast and very quickly. And I feel my motivation is back. So I really enjoy working on it, and it will be ready quite soon. And that's a very nice idea. So I love that. Okay, which day we are? We are at Tuesday. Tuesday was all Tolsta Tee, so that was not very special. I told you everything about that. And Wednesday I had a knitting day out. I visited a lovely yarn store in another town. I was invited to do a collaboration with Alexandra. She's from Rebel with a Twist. I will show you what's in that bag in a minute. She asked if we could do a collaboration, and I had to think about it. I will tell you right now. But when I decided I would love to do it, I thought, let's visit her store, let's visit her shop. So I went by train to Dordrecht, a little town, and it was only 20 minutes by train. In my head it was quite far away, but it wasn't at all. I had no idea I was living so near to that town. that's very, I feel a bit ashamed about it. It was very nice to visit Alexandra. So she has a yarn store at home. It's a very tiny yarn store, and she lives at the harbor of Dordrecht. So it's very nice, and I filmed a bit, so I will put it maybe at the end of my video, maybe when I'm talking. And Alexandra is a very lovely lady. She had the most beautiful sweater, and she was such a nice open-minded lady. It was very nice to chat with her. We drank a coffee and I looked around in her lovely store and we chatted and it was very nice. And then she asked if she could give me the new Laine book, 52 Weeks of Socks, Vol.II. A very generous gift, including yarn for making a pair of socks in this book. So this is a very generous gift, and the reason I had to think about it was because I don't own 52 Weeks of Socks Volume 1 because I'm not a very adventurous sock knitter. I did take part at the Free Socks 2020 from Kia in 2020 from Kia, Kia's boat podcast, the Swedish knitting lady, and I didn't make it all year long. I made 4 or 5 pair of socks, but I was really, it took all my knitting time, and I realized I was more a plain sock knitter, a vanilla sock knitter. Straight socks, maybe stripes. I love scrappy socks, or a lovely skein of yarn, and straight socks were enough for me. And all the lovely patterns and color work and structured socks, they didn't touch my heart. They only cost me so much knitting time. At the moment, I am not knitting a lot of socks at all. I did knit a lot of socks for myself and also for my family and friends, but I own enough socks at the moment, and I'm a bit done with knitting socks for my friends because it always took quite some knitting time, and I just want to knit so many things for myself, for my own wardrobe. So I'm focused on that quite a lot at the moment. So I knit garments and blankets. So when she asked, I thought I would never buy this book my own. Is it then right to receive it and do it? But otherwise, I was also interested. I love it when things happen in your life and you just have to go with the flow and see what's happening. So this was happening. So maybe it was with a reason. And I think I discovered the reason already. I will tell you about that. So, and she showed me the socks. And she asked me if I would love to make these socks, and I have to be careful. I can't give away the pattern. I'm always a bit clumsy with it. These socks, I don't know if you can see it from this distance, but I will show it in detail later on my Instagram and podcast when I will start making the socks. It's a pattern from Rosa Pomar, and they are called the Mondim socks. And the Mondim this mosaic sock pattern has been adapted from a traditional sock design from the Mondim Mountains in Portugal. Like all traditional Portuguese garments, the socks are worked inside out. That was quite a surprise. Alexandra didn't realize when she asked me, and she's knitting her themselves right now, but they are knitted on the Portuguese way, and I was really happy to hear that. That's why they were coming along in my life, I guess. I can knit Portuguese. I learned it from my knitting teacher a few years ago. I was always struggling with knitting, with purling, with my purling stitch. They were also messy. My head's going faster than my mouth. Take it easy, take a deep breath. My purl stitches were always messy and loose, and I didn't get good gauge and the good stitch definition. I was always struggling with that. So my knitting teacher suggested Portuguese knitting, and I really loved doing it. And it was quite fun and also quite relaxing and easy, but I quit doing it. And I don't really know why, and I don't think I can do it right now. I have to look for a tutorial on YouTube, I guess. But I was really surprised in a positive way that these socks are knitted Portuguese. So yeah, I will experience with that again, and yeah, it really makes me happy. So that was very nice. So I also received 2 skeins of yarn. I was really thinking about the color combination I wanted. I think my bag is a bit. I was thinking of combining it with brown, but the brown was out of stock, so it decreased my color options, and that was good. So the pattern is a very dark blue with off-white, but I chose for a black with off-white, and I will alternate. But what's white in the pattern, I will make black. So I will cast on these first I have to finish my Tolsta, and then I will cast on these, and I'm very happy. I also bought 2 extra skeins myself. Oh, the yarn. Let me tell about the yarn. It's Mondim. Mondim from Rosa Pomar, Retrosaria. It's Portuguese non-superwash yarn, 100%, no nylon, and that's always quite exciting when you are knitting socks with no nylon. But Alexandra had very good experience with it. I have 1 pair of socks, 100% wool, no nylon for myself, and they are holding pretty good. The socks, the house socks I knitted for my daughter, I showed you last week, they are not holding pretty good. So I'm quite exciting, but we shall see. It's about the knitting, it's a process knit, and yeah, I really love it. So that's a nice collaboration. And I don't know, when you visit the Netherlands and you visit Dordrecht, it's a very lovely, sweet little town with a lot of history, then I can absolutely recommend to visit Rebel with a Twist. It's a very lovely place. Very small also. Okay. Yeah, when I went back home, my train was delayed. And yeah, that was quite fun, because I realized when you are a crafter, you are never bored. I always have some knitting or crochet in my bag, and the train was delayed, and I was absolutely happy with it. It was very quiet in the train, so when it's very busy it's not nice, but it was very quiet in the train, and it was raining outside, and I had some extra crochet time in the train, and the people in the train were all making excuses. Oh, we're sorry that we are late, but I don't bother. I'm happy. So that was quite fun. Okay, Thursday I again knitted on my Tolsta, and I made this last crafty adventure. Oh, this pillow, it's a special pillow. I have a little group with some other lovely ladies. They are all knitters. And we are decluttering together. We do it through WhatsApp, and we are giving each other little tasks every day, a declutter task every day. And yesterday, it's very motivating to do it together, and I really love decluttering, because I'm not a minimalist, and but I do feel the freedom of not owning too much, and yeah, all the stuff we have, all the stuff we own asks time and attention, and when you own less stuff, you have more time to do the things you really want. So that's very interesting to. I'm really in the middle of that process, and it's really lovely and interesting. But the task, yesterday's task, was declutter a task from your to-do list, which is on that list forever. So you could choose, either you just skip the task, don't want to do it anymore, or you can do the task and complete the task. And this task was on my list forever. I had this is an embroidered pillow. When you followed my February episodes, you could see that our couch is full with those cushions, those pillows. And this one is made by my son. And this is a very special one, because crafts from my son are very rare. But he made this, I guess, 6 or 7 years ago. He's a rugbyer, and he had a concussion, by then, and he was recovering, and he was not allowed to have any screen time, but he was also laying and resting on the couch, and he was bored, and I bought him earlier this embroidery work because his sisters, they loved knitting and crocheting and making blankets for their dolls and making little bags and all the things, but he didn't like it, and but he was enjoying the cross stitching. So he chose this embroidery work, and when he was recovering from his concussion, he worked pretty much on this pillow. And when he was recovered, he didn't pay attention to it anymore. My mom finished it, but it was laying in it was laying downstairs with a little bit of fabric for the back side for a lot of years right now. And I still need to make a pillow of it, but it didn't happen. And it was on my list forever, and I really want to skip it for my list, but I didn't want to. I want to make the pillow because I really want this. It is beautiful work, and it's from my son, so I really want to finish it. And then I realized that all the pillows I made are quite perfect. They all have this part with buttons and seams, so you can open it and you could put the cushion, the pillow out of it. And they are all nice and straight, and I made them with my sewing machine. But the point is, to create such perfect pillowcases costs me so much energy because I'm not a good sewer, and I'm not enjoying the process of sewing, and it's such a precise work, and it's not giving me that fulfillment of the happiness, I guess. So I just don't like it. So I was thinking, can I simplify this task? And then do I really have to zigzag the sides of the fabric? No, I really have quite some left, so it's okay. And then do I really have to make a seam? No, I just can make one piece. When the pillow is really dirty, you can put it in a wash machine with pillow in it. And then I thought, do I really need a sewing machine? No, you can sew by hand. I love sewing by hand. I think it's really meditative and mindful. I really love the rhythm of hand sewing. And so I simplified and simplified and simplified. And then I only need the fabric, the embroidery, a needle and some yarn and a scissor. And I just sewn by hand. I did it wrong the first time. My fabric was inside out. I'm such a clumsy crafter, really. Unbelievable. But I did it again. And then I was at this part, the cushion, the pillow which had to go in, it was quite thick. You can see it was quite a thick filled pillow, and normally you only have a small opening, but now it was pretty big. And then I thought, how can I close it in a neat way? Then I thought I like to use the blanket stitch, and my perfectionist said, no, not the blanket stitch, it's not the right choice for such a pillow. But I thought I just want to make the blanket stitch because I enjoy it, the look and the doing. So I used the blanket stitch right here, and I'm very happy with the outcome. So it was really it was really a nice experience to simplify a task that had grown so big and difficult in my mind, and simplify. I was done in an hour, and it was very nice and relaxing working on it. And yeah, I was really proud. The pillow is ready. I showed it to my son, and he said, "Whoa, I really love it. Did I make that?" And it's on our couch now, and it reminds him of his crafts and me of his crafts, and also that you can make things more simple, and don't be too hard on yourself, and don't make things unnecessarily difficult when you don't need to. There are difficult things enough in life, so you don't have to make the simple things difficult. And it was also with my needle case, with my Gu needle case. I also felt that perfectionism, oh, you have to do it that way. No, skip all the rules, just do what you like. And also here, I skipped all the rules, just did what I like, enjoyed it, and the outcome is perfect. So I don't know why I was making such a big problem of it. It was very inspiring. So this pillow is remembering me of that. It will remember me every time I'm on the couch. It will remember me. Simplify. So it was very nice, and it was absolutely one of my crafty highlights from this week. Okay, I think that was it. It was quite a lot. That's why I make podcasts twice every week. I have no idea how long I chatted. I don't think as long as in the Dutch podcast. I hope so, because it was pretty long. And I know it's okay when you have a nice podcast to just knit and watch it. But too long is too long, I guess. I will thank you. I thank you for watching it if you make it to the end. And I hope you have a very nice weekend with a lot of knitting and crochet time. And I will be back on Monday. And you see me by then. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.